All right, we're back. Welcome back to the Push Lap F1 podcast. Got a juicy episode for you today. Ryan and I will be ranking every single F1 champion since 1980. The reason we did it since 1980 is that's kind of like the modern era of F1. Once you get below that, it's kind of really tough to rank them. You know, you've got Fangio and some of the others. So
Yeah.
it's hard to compare those guys. So we're going to start from 1980. Got us a tier list up here. I think we were talking before. We got a lot of hot takes, maybe a lot of
Yeah.
differences. So,
Yeah.
uh,
For
yeah,
sure.
really excited. So, we are going to try to explain each and every one of these guys a little bit as we rank them. So, if you're not familiar with a couple of these guys, hopefully by the end of this you will be. So, yeah, we'll kick this off, and we are ranking these F1 champions by their whole career. What they were as a champion, not just their championship season. So we don't have any metrics for this. We're just doing it purely based off vibes. So, yeah,
Yep.
Ryan, if you want to get us started, pick you a F1 champion.
Okay. I'm gonna take Max,
Oh, okay.
and he's going in S tier. Actually.
Okay, good. I was going to put him as tier two.
Yeah.
I think this was one of the places where we would have disagreed, but why is he S tier for you?
Okay. Well, he pretty much owns every record ever for the fastest to do this, the fastest to do that. And I know Kimmy's broken some of them, but we don't care about him yet. He's not a champ. And I mean, he fully beat Lewis, like prime Lewis, 2021. Probably the best championship ever. Had the most dominant season of all time in 2023.
Yep.
If he ties them at 7, it would be hard to say that he's not the GOAT. Just because he straight up beat Lewis, fair and square. Um, I mean, he'll probably own every record by then, assuming that he stays around that long. But I think easily the third best driver of all time. So
I fully agree. I think third best all time. I think all the records you talked about are exactly the same reasons. Most dominant season of all time. And this isn't like a metric, but he is kind of what it means to be a champion. Regardless of where he's at in the championship or what kind of car he's in, he's always within the championship fight. He's always a conversation piece. He's just dominant. He gets on pole often. He challenges for wins often. He is terrifying to the rest of the grid and really has kind of just had this era like only a few others on this list have, where they've reigned honestly for a period of time, almost a decade at this point of Max's reign. And so Max Verstappen will go down as one of the best. He might go down as the best, not only just because he's dominating in F1, he's won a lot of races, broke the records, but also you see him in GT3. He's in other disciplines of racing doing extremely well, like some of the older drivers used to do. He's not here and gone, maybe like some of these others. He always looks good. He doesn't look like he has any weaknesses, and that's just what it means to be an F1 champion. So I couldn't agree more with Max Verstappen S tier. So I'm going to go a little bit down the list and maybe pick someone a little less known. And I think I'm going to take, you know what? I'm going to take Nigel Mansell, one-time world champion, and I'm actually going to put him in B tier.
I think that's fair.
The reason that this is, I know there's a lot of Nigel Mansell haters out there, but he was extremely good. He was in one of the best cars ever, but his qualifying pace that season was terrifying. If I'm not mistaken, he finished on the podium at almost every race. He started from the top 3 every race. It was just a dominant season. I think that even though it was only one season, he also raced in IndyCar. He was a really good driver all around. Obviously, we weren't alive. It's a little bit harder to compare him. But I think that he's not as forgettable maybe as some of these other guys. And when we look back in history, we see him there in that Williams FW13B or the FW14B one of the greatest cars ever made. And it is a piece of history that just stands forever. So I'm going to put him B tier.
Yep. I agree. He also has a killer mustache.
Yep. He's got his
Um,
own. He wears that hat all the time. I don't even know what that's called.
yeah. Uh, he just kind of has a air about him that very unique. But no. I mean, Schumacher um came in after, that like the Williams dominant era, or he
Yeah.
kind of came in right at the end of it, I guess. And I mean, he was kind of getting bullied around for the first couple of years by the Williams drivers. So I think, I think B tier is perfect. He's mediocre all time when it comes to champions, but he still is a champion and was pretty well respected.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we really can't say anything because neither of us will be F1 champions ever, and this guy is.
Nope.
So, but I think he's maybe slightly above average. If C tier's average, I definitely would put him above average. He
Yeah.
had 14 wins out of 16 races. That is a crazy win race. Just incredible. Or no, he won 9 of the 16 races. Got 14 podiums. So it's one of the highest podium conversions
Yeah.
in F1 history. He took 14 pole positions out of those 16 races, almost 90% start rate from the front. So pretty impressive from Nigel Mansell.
Yeah.
All right,
All
who's
right.
next?
I'm gonna take JV and put
Oh,
him where everybody thinks he's gonna go. F tier.
F tier. JV to F tier. Why is this?
Um, no hate to the guy. I don't know really anything about him to hate him, but I do know what he did in F1, and that was luck into a championship because Schumacher almost died trying to drive the car.
Yeah, I agree. This is kind of where I had him, and it's less for his championship year and the rest kind of for everything else.
Yeah.
He almost won his debut race in '96. He wins a championship the next season in '97 in an absolutely dominant Williams. But after that, he kind of didn't do anything. He joined BAR, tried to start, kind of be the lead man there. That didn't pan out. He joined BMW Sauber. That didn't pan out. After, as far as I'm aware, after his championship year, not really much ever came to it. And another problem,
Mhm.
and this doesn't have anything to do with his driving capability, is if you ever listen to him commentate, he does a lot for F1 TV. To be honest, I just don't like the guy. He always trashes other drivers. Any interview I've ever seen, he doesn't like Daniel Ricciardo for some reason. He
Most
talks
liked
trash
driver
about.
ever.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think, I don't know. He just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Um, yes, he's an F1 world champion, but that's kind of it. I think out of this whole list, like you said, he's maybe, the most forgettable. He's like,
Yeah.
if I were to open, and we talked about this, there's a set where it's only F1 champions, a card set, and I opened that thing and it was him, I would probably want him the least out of every driver on this list.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not good, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a world champ, I guess, and we will never be. Um, I don't know. He's pretty terrible.
Yeah. All right. I'll pick the next one. I'm going to pick a personal favorite of mine lately. I just listened to a podcast where he was interviewed. I'm going to take Nico Rosberg, and I'm going to throw him in B tier as well. He's another, and I think I'd put him above Nigel Mansell, but he is
Yeah,
only
go
a
ahead and do
one-time world
that.
champion. Yeah, let's go ahead and move him over. He is only a one-time world champion, but look at where he won that
Yeah.
championship. He is the only F1 driver in history to beat Lewis Hamilton to a world championship in the same car. 2016 remains one of the most contentious championship title fights. That in 2021, but he won, and not just that, but even in 2014 and 2015, he was competitive and he was right there. So he did a really amazing job. He always did really well wherever he drove. He beat Lewis Hamilton, one of only like 2 or 3 drivers to ever do that in equal machinery, and both of them are also on this list. So I think that really puts him in B tier. Definitely above average, definitely under different circumstances. He's a multiple time world champion, and he's just a really cool guy.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, he beat Lewis, like first or second best driver ever, um, in the same car. He was scoring points in a terrible car before coming to Mercedes. Um, Obviously, he came second multiple times to Lewis. Um, and I don't know. I kind of like the power play of winning the championship and then retiring. I kind of respect
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. As soon as you get done, you're like, yeah, this is all I was here for.
Yeah, it's like I'm never doing this again. Let me leave while I'm up.
And
Um,
something that I really respect about Rosberg, and even you can hear him talk about this, the toll that the championship took. He was ready to give everything for that championship. He cut holes in his seat in his car. He took all the paint off of his helmet. He did anything it took to get that championship. It mattered that much
yeah,
to him. And I think other drivers like Max Verstappen, Ayrton Senna, those kind of guys have that same mentality that this is
yeah,
it. This is my whole life. It wasn't about fame or fortune or anything. It really seemed like it was about that championship. And then when he got it, he was done.
yeah. I completely agree. He was like he'd pee multiple times before he went out.
Yeah.
Like any little thing to shave weight. I kind of respect the competitiveness there for sure.
Yeah. All right. Who you got next?
Tricky. Okay, I'm gonna take Lando.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna put him in D tier.
Okay. I was thinking C or D. Explain your reasoning.
Yeah. Okay. He got his first win 2 years ago. Um, he's still young. He has not been in F1. I mean, he's been in F1 a while. He's not
Yeah.
been competitive in F1 for a while.
Yeah.
Um, he fended off Max Verstappen last year to win his championship. Um, he's kind of he's not as cool as some of these other guys. He tends to be a little bit more emotional than others when it comes to competitiveness and um, I don't know. He just didn't have like the fiery spirit like some of these guys have.
Yeah. Yeah, like that
And
aura,
also, yeah, also Zach Brown had the worst radio call ever.
Oh,
So
championship
that
hotline.
automatically that automatically knocked him down a tier for me.
Yeah. I kind of feel
He
the
can't
same
do
way.
anything about that.
Yeah, I was going to put him C or D, and the biggest reason is he just hasn't proved himself. He just won a
Yeah,
championship last season. There's a chance he wins, 1 or 2 more. There's a chance he doesn't ever do anything else in the sport again. I think this season he's strengthened that legacy, but it's just such an unknown quantity. He could be another Jacques Villeneuve. He could be, a Nigel Mansell or someone like that. It's just so
yeah,
hard to tell this early on. So I don't have a problem with him in D. I think C tier could also be a pretty good fit. But his championship year was pretty impressive. Max Verstappen, one of the greats. He had to fend him off. I think the thing for me about that championship season that I find impressive, because I'm a huge Lando fan, even putting him in C or D, is that he started off bad and didn't give up. He
yeah,
fully kind of came back after the summer break, revitalized, and made that championship push. And I think that's pretty awesome.
yeah. He also had the fastest car on the grid by a lot, so that
Yeah.
kind of hurts a little bit
Yeah.
because like literally, if he was like a second slower, Max would have won that championship. But
Yeah.
whatever. He wasn't.
Speaking of that car, I would be really interested to do a championship car tier list to see where that MCL 39 fits in. Because I've been thinking about that is how good was that car historically? I know it set a lot of fastest laps,
Yeah,
broke track records. So we'll have to do that at some point. But it was really good
yeah.
that year. All right. I'm gonna take my GOAT, Fernando Alonso. And this may be like crazy, but I'm gonna put him A tier. Okay, if it'll let me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Fernando Alonso A tier. Uh, my reasoning behind this is basically he is a two-time world champion, but it's not just that. He's kind of completely changed the sport as far as what it means to be a driver with the longevity that he's had. He beat Michael Schumacher and stopped the Ferrari dominance. And not just that, but even when he joined Ferrari, 2010, 2011, 2012, he was extremely competitive in an uncompetitive car, really challenging for the title, probably should have won the title. And he's always been good. They gave him a good car in 23, Aston Martin, and he's competing for wins and podiums. You just kind of can't, you kind of can't do much more than that as an F1 driver. So I really think that that's impressive. I really like the guy. I think that he stands out in his longevity, and that's kind of my reasoning.
Yeah, he just happens to be the most unlucky driver in F1 history, I think.
Yeah, made some
Um,
questionable career moves.
yeah, uh, like how it's not letting you move him there.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
We'll fix that later.
yeah, um, yeah. I mean, he's been competitive in every good car he's had. Plain and simple. Um, he just unfortunately made a lot of bad career decisions, and it ended up costing him in the long run. He's kind of stuck in purgatory right now. Uh,
Yeah,
but I think this new Honda engine, could be good. I've been kind of hype about it. I heard they hit some setbacks, but you never know.
yeah.
And
I hope that it does well. We're only a couple days away from finding out, really.
yeah, I think if he can win again this season, um, to put him in that conversation, honestly, like
Yeah,
in that A tier conversation, easy, because like dude's like 50 and it's still like competitive when given the right circumstances.
yeah. Pretty unprecedented. All right, now that we've got
Yeah.
Alonso up there, who do you want to put up there next?
Okay. I'm gonna take I'm gonna take Jensen Button and I'm gonna put him in A tier also.
Ooh, I'm gonna disagree, but go ahead.
Okay. Let me elaborate. Number one, Braun GP, one of the coolest stories in F1 history.
Agree.
Just the way that all of that played out. Number two, 2006, got his first win against Fernando Alonso in the R26, one of the best cars ever.
That's valid.
He was good in 2007 when Ferrari was dominant with Kimi Räikkönen. 2008, you kind of knew what was coming, and then 2009, he finally got over the hump. Um, I feel like he won enough in his career against the all-time greats to kind of prove to the fact that he was A tier for the one-time champs. I think, in my opinion. Um, I personally think that he's probably the best one-time champ of any of them. Um, could be a hot
Dude,
take.
there's no way. There's no way. All right, here's my reasoning.
Okay.
Jensen Button is not better than Nico Rosberg and Nigel Mansell. There's no way, right? Am I crazy?
I don't know. I don't know. Let me like ask chat real quick.
All right. You asked chat. My reasoning is I think Jensen Button is B tier. I think that he's along the same lines as Nico Nigel Mansell. The only reason is he wasn't really given another chance to win a championship. But other than winning with Braun, what else did he really do? He had that really good race in Canada in 2011. I want to say that he finished ahead of Lewis when they were teammates once. But aside from that, he I don't know. He's not someone that's widely remembered for being the greatest driver of his era. I think that he's overshadowed a little bit. In this A tier as it kind of gets fleshed out, I think that some of these other drivers will eclipse him. They had their eras. Jensen Button really didn't. So that's my opinion. He may be the one that I move, but we'll just have to see.
Okay, here's some stats for you. So, hang on. Let me get down here first. So, one title to one title. Jensen has 15 wins. Nico has 23. But Jensen Button started on pole 8 times compared to Nico's 30. Nico Rosberg was given possibly one of the greatest cars ever, like 2 or 3 years. Jensen Button had 300 starts. Nico had 200 starts. Um, Jensen was genuinely given like one of the worst cars ever, most of his career, and was good in kind of two eras, the like Alonso era and the Lewis Hamilton, like the beginning of the Lewis Hamilton reign.
Yeah.
So, um,
Okay.
here
Let me
here's the
go
quote.
ahead.
Rosberg's case is basically, I beat Lewis Hamilton in equal machinery. Button's case is, I became champion, had a longer and more varied career, won 15 races, and produced elite seasons in several cars.
Okay. We'll leave him for now. But Nigel Mansell had 35 F1 race wins. That's
How many starts?
32 my or no, that's Alonso's. Uh 31 wins in, let's see, how many starts did he had? How many did in 187 starts?
Okay, that's pretty good.
Pretty
Actually, I
good,
think
isn't
we
it? Did we
and say that we
underrate?
underrated Nigel Mansell.
Okay. We'll leave these guys where they're at, and we may make some changes at the end. But all right, I will move on next, and I'm gonna take Mika Hakkinen. This is kind of tough. Actually, I'm gonna leave Mika because I have personal bias. I'll let you take Mika, but I'm gonna take Damon Hill, and I'm gonna put him in C tier. I think that he's just kind of like the average F1 driver. You know, like if C tier means average, I kind of think that that's exactly who he is. He's
Yeah.
middle of the road. He won a championship in an era dominated by others. And yeah, I think that he adds a lot to the sport, but that's about it. He had some other decent seasons after his championship year, and then he kind of just tapered off. So I would put him C tier. I think him and Lando maybe are closest in comparison on this list.
Yeah. Just kind of mid. Yeah, there's really no other way to say it. He's just kind of mid.
Yeah. All right. Who do you have next?
Tough. I'm gonna take Seb.
Don't do it.
I'm really feeling B tier. I'm not gonna lie.
No, bruh. No, 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 but no. Below
We'll
Jensen
go
Button,
A.
there's no
We'll go
way.
A. We'll go A.
Okay.
We'll go A.
Okay.
No,
Sebastian
but
Vettel is a
okay.
four-time world champion.
No, I'm not saying okay, but listen, let me elaborate. So it's like Jensen Button isn't necessarily like better than Seb for sure, but like what he did with what he had, you know what I mean?
I guess so. You're talking about like the Ferrari
Like,
years.
yeah, because like I mean, Seb had like ridiculously good car, in his championship era, and then like he was given a ridiculous car with Ferrari too, and it's like I'm not saying that he's worse than Jensen Button because he's definitely not, but
Okay.
like career wise, Jensen did more with less.
All right. That's crazy a little bit to me. I do agree with the A tier. I think Sebastian Vettel isn't quite S tier, not just because of the Ferrari years, but the biggest thing for me that separates him and Max, both Red Bull drivers, both four-time world champions, is the fashion in which they did it. Both were dominant, and a lot of the records that Max broke were Seb's, but I think Max did it in a little bit more of a convincing fashion. You know, he won more races in a season. He won more races in a row. He just did a little bit more than Seb ever did, and we'll see how the rest of Max's career plays out, but at Ferrari, there were those opportunities to win, and I think some of those were squandered. He was also given some of the worst Ferrari cars of all time, like in 2020.
Also
I think
true.
they finished like sixth in the championship, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Something about it to me just doesn't want to put him S tier. I don't think that he's up there, so I'm going to put him A tier as well. I agree with that. All right,
Okay.
I go ahead.
I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, and I'm gonna put Jensen in B tier,
Okay,
but I want him ahead of Nico. And I think they might both be behind Nigel Mansell actually.
okay. The reason I think the A tier will really flesh itself out here in a minute when we get to some of these other
Yeah.
guys. So,
I
all
kind of
right,
didn't realize the Nigel Mansell greatness actually.
he actually was like cooking back in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
I'm gonna do an easy one, and I'm gonna put Michael
Yep.
Schumacher S tier. Arguably the greatest driver of all time. You can make a case for it. 7 world
I'm not.
championships, 5 of the. See, I'm on the Michael Schumacher goat side of the fence. You're on the Hamilton goat side of the fence. I think he revolutionized what it meant to be an F1 champion. He had a home gym in his private jet. He was relentless. He really pushed individually for Ferrari to be back on top, won 5 in a row. He did have some uh like dark tactics, a little bit of black magic. He is the only F1 driver to get banned from a whole season. But at
Yeah,
the end of the day, he truly was one of the all-time greats. I wish
for
I would have been
sure.
alive to see it. I think, in that GOAT conversation, the 7 championships speak for themselves. And up until a few years ago, he genuinely was the undisputed greatest driver of all time. He really did
Yeah.
change the sport.
Um, he was a little dirty. I'm not gonna lie. I've watched some
Yeah, for
clips,
sure.
and he wouldn't last in this era of F1 that we're in. But that wasn't the era of F1 he was in. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Michael Jordan debate. Like, yeah, he might have been like a physical driver or whatever, but it's like that was allowed, so he did it. Um, I mean, yeah, he was good at Benetton, which is saying a lot. I mean, it was a decent car, but it wasn't that good. Um, and then obviously he kind of made that. What was it? The F 2004 was that the
yeah.
crazy one?
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
one of
like
the greatest of all time.
yeah, like the best car ever. So it's like, I mean, he like maximized what he was given and won 7 championships. So
Yeah, I agree. Just all around, absolutely amazing driver. Not enough can be said, and really put Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari was always already world champions, but
mhm.
when you think about the Ferrari greatness that still stands today, people are drawn to Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton moved there. It's because of what he did at Ferrari. There's just this hopium that they'll return to that glory at some point. So, yeah, Michael Schumacher,
This
S
year,
tier for sure.
this year.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Hey, they are bringing. I saw today they're bringing an engine upgrade for Zandvoort. So,
Yep,
or I think it may actually be for Monza, but they
it's
have
for
a second
Monza.
upgrade. Okay, all right. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right, we're getting to the slim pickings. We have some big names left on here. We'll have to save for last.
I don't want to do this, but I like fully believe it. I'm gonna take Senna and put him
Uh
at the top of A tier.
okay. No, I think that's fair. That's what I was gonna do.
Um, I hate to say this, he was low-key a little overrated.
I think I agree.
There's another guy that looks oddly a lot like him still left on here that, in my opinion, was better. Now I
Yeah,
understand that he was like the greatest, hypothetical driver ever, but it's like, I mean, unfortunately, his career ended before we got to see that. And I think based off of what he did in the time that he was in F1, he's probably like fourth or fifth best ever.
yeah, I agree. I think, and this is harsh to say, I think that his death cemented his legacy more than if he would have remained alive. It's like that
Yep.
what if. He kind of became this legend or this like myth of how good that he was. And I would love to speak to someone who watched him at the time. But the thing about it is Eddie Jordan, who, Jordan F1 was in the sport for a long time and I think passed away about a year or two ago. He said that between Schumacher, Max, and Ayrton, he said that he would take Max, which that's one person's opinion, but he was alive for those eras, and I think that he was one of, if not the best, single lap qualifier and wet weather drivers. But often, from what I understand from this era, Alan Prost, who we will get to, beat him on racecraft and on consistency. He was just had the better race pace out of the two of them. So I agree. I think top of A class. Maybe if he would have lived and wouldn't have died in San Marino that year, I think 1994, he may be S, but yeah, I have to agree, top of A class.
Yeah. I thought that might have been a hot take. I wasn't totally sure
No,
how that was
it
going to
may
go.
it may be a hot take, but I don't think it's too crazy. All right, I'm gonna get an easy
That's
one out of the
pretty good
way.
evidence.
Yeah, not spent a lot of time. Alan Jones, the 1980 World Championship in F tier. The only reason is I think that he was the last of a previous era, and this is exactly why we did 1980. Uh, the sport changed so much after the 70s, and I think that this was one of the very last wins of that era. I mean, he's not just super well known. He didn't do a lot to change the sport, and that's just kind of my reasoning. There's not really much else to say.
I think if you asked 9 out of 10 F1 fans if they knew who Alan Jones was, they'd say no.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. If you were to ask them, I mean, we didn't know who we even won
nope.
with in 1980, so
Nope.
uh, we're
He
showing our
also only
ignorance.
won
But
one race in his uh, championship season. So, like, if we can forget that, that is the
yeah.
worst on here by far.
All right, who you got next?
Yeah. I'm going to take Nicky Lauda,
Okay,
and he's going bottom of B tier.
bottom of B tier. All right, I thought you were going to say C, but I think that's a pretty good place for him.
Um, in no world is he better than Nico Rosberg. I don't care if he has a cool story.
Yeah,
Um, I don't really care about that. I care about how good they were at the sport. And I'd say he's probably, he sits somewhere in that like top 15, but I mean, he was just kind of mid, really. Like, he didn't do a
yeah.
whole lot.
I agree with you. The most famous thing about him is just that famous accident where he got really burnt.
Yeah.
Came back almost to win. Uh, he's a really great champion. I think what really propels him into that B, keeps him out of C, is what he did in the sport after
Yep.
his championship wins. He's the reason that Lewis Hamilton went to Mercedes, that left McLaren. He's the one that convinced Lewis Hamilton to leave. So I think he had a lot of impact on the sport. I kind of agree with you. I think he's just B tier. Super awesome guy, did a lot for the sport, but maybe not the best
Yeah.
champion and highest potential. All right, I'm gonna take KK Rosberg, Nico Rosberg's father, one-time world champion, and I am gonna put him in D tier. Um,
Yep.
I'm gonna put him
Nah,
behind
put him
Lando.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting him behind Lando. And to be honest, I don't know a lot about KK, other than from what I understand, he was in an era with, Nicky Lauda. In the late '80s, you had Ayrton Senna. It's just he was a champion. He had a great season. He was really consistent, and that's kind of it. That's what brought him the championship. Nothing groundbreaking, and that's just kind of my reasoning. Had a pretty sick mustache though.
Yeah. I think the best thing he did for the sport was give birth to his son.
Yeah.
So
Does that help his legacy having a one of the?
it might.
It might actually. It's like Jos Verstappen. He's more well known because of Max
That's
than he is as
that is
F1.
true.
Yeah. So
Um, yeah. I knew who Nico Rosberg was before I knew KK. So
that's a fact. All right. Who do you
yeah, I
got?
mean, it's just kind of bad. Um, This is tough. I could cop out right now, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna take Mika, and
Okay.
he's going in A tier for
Okay.
sure. But
Okay.
but I don't know which side of Alonso to put him on. I'm conflicted about that.
They're very similar drivers. It's so
Yeah.
odd. They both stopped Michael Schumacher to win 2 championships. The only difference is Mika retired early and Alonso is still in the sport today.
Mika did have a pretty crazy wreck though. That is like
Yeah,
kind of famous and pretty cool.
it was Adelaide, right? It was 94, I think. They had
Yeah.
to perform a tracheotomy on the track, almost died, and to come back from that and win's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think he'll stay behind Alonso, uh,
That's fair.
just because Alonso was competitive for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's better than all of our one-time champs right there. Um, he did, he kind of won in a Schumacher, uh, dominant, era,
Yeah.
but Schumacher also kind of had some stuff going on at that point. But
Yeah, broke his legs in 99. So,
yeah, but you know, um, he still won the championship. So
yeah.
yeah,
And he did it against a really good teammate in David Coulthard. So,
yeah,
Mika's one of my favorite drivers of all time, and I think he's just really, really cool guy, really awesome driver. And his first appearance for McLaren, he actually outqualified Senna, which was pretty awesome. So
yeah,
I, I think he's a great driver. I agree. If we look at the bottom of this list, A is kind of like your multiple time world champions. All of them are multiple time, and then
yeah,
B and down, they're all single time world champions. So I think it makes sense. So all right,
yeah.
this is going to be maybe a hot take. I'm going to take Kimi Räikkönen and I'm going
Okay.
to put him C tier.
No, I agree actually.
Okay. He's a one-time world champion. Did it in 2007. Kind of snatched it away from the two McLarens, Alonso and Hamilton, fighting each other right there at the end. He was
But
a really
that's the
good
whole reason
champion.
he won.
Exactly. Exactly. He won the championship because two teammates were fighting in the dominant cars, not because
Yeah,
he was necessarily the best driver that year. I think there were seasons where he was one of the fastest drivers, 2005 in that McLaren. If it would have been a
yeah,
little more reliable, maybe he could have won. But I just think that really good driver, he was a champion, just didn't change the sport a whole lot.
yeah. He's more known for his funny radio calls than winning a championship.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you ask most people what year did Kimi Räikkönen win a championship, a lot of them would forget, just like
Yeah.
most normal F1 fans. So, yeah, I agree. We've got two really big names in F1 left and one not so big.
I'm taking Nelson PK,
All right.
and he's going at the top of B tier.
Top of B tier. Okay. That's pretty above Nigel Mansell.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your reasoning behind that?
Um, he won what, 3 championships? Is that right? Or did I
I
make
think
that up?
I think that's right. I think some of those were uh were maybe before 1980,
Yeah.
but he was a champion after 1980.
Yeah. Okay, so it was 81, 83, and 87.
Oh, I was wrong. Okay, yeah. Three-time world champion, that does kind of speak for itself.
Yeah, but I will say it says on here he only had 23 wins in his career.
About 10
That
less than
that
Nigel Mansell.
yes, but he beat Nigel Mansell in 1987, it says,
Okay. Okay.
by 12 points, and he beat Alan Prost in 83.
Okay,
So,
so some of the greats really.
yes, but other than that, what else did he do?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when I think about F1, he doesn't come into my brain, in the first 10 people I think of. Um, I mean, he really didn't do anything else other than his championship years. So, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was just kind of overshadowed with the era that he was in. Alan Prost, Ayrton Senna, some of those
And that was
guys.
the reason he won most of those.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah, it's just taking points off each other, and he snuck a few in there. I think I
yeah,
was going to put him C, but I think I agree with you. The three championships really do stand for something, especially in an era that was dominated by other multiple-time world champions. And this is insane. He had the same amount of championship wins as Senna did. So, like,
true.
that's pretty crazy to really think about. So, yep, I
Yeah, I
agree.
mean, he beat Prost and he beat Mansell. So, I mean, he was,
Yep,
you know.
pretty good.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to take Lewis Hamilton. I think everybody knows what's coming. I'm going to put him S tier, and I think
Whoa.
he goes to the front of S tier.
Yep.
As much as I really do love Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton has changed the sport forever. And there is always still a chance that he wins that eighth. It's less likely
Yeah.
every year, but he's competitive this year. He's in the fight. I mean, he's second in the standings this year. He's won
Yep.
seven, almost won eight, and he holds the record for most podiums, most wins, most pole positions. He holds
Yep.
all the major records. He really just is the greatest. I mean, there's nothing else to it.
Yep. Tied in championships,
Yeah.
has let's see, 15 more wins, 40 more pole positions, 50 more podiums. Um has a 52% podium percentage, 27% pole percentage, and a 27% win percentage.
You said 52% podium percentage?
Yes.
To win over half of your F1 races in a 2-decade long career is, or not win, but get on the podium in over half
Yeah.
of your races is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, 391 starts.
Yeah. And he's gotten over half of those are podiums, top three finishes. So
Yep.
it's absolutely insane what he's been able to do in the sport. And when you think of F1, you think of Lewis Hamilton. So he's changed
Yeah.
the sport
I knew who
forever.
Lewis Hamilton was before I watched F1. Uh,
Yeah.
he's in Cars. Um, Michael Schumacher is also in Cars, but he doesn't race, so I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So I'm going to take our last guy. This is where I think we may disagree. I'm going to take Alan Prost, and I'm going to put him at the very tip top of A tier,
Hmm,
above
losing
Ayrton
me.
Senna. I'm losing you. Okay, let me give my case here.
Okay.
I think Alan Prost was and is one of the greatest drivers of all time, four-time world champion. Uh, I think that he was better than Senna. He won more championships. Obviously, they traded blows. But what is different about Alan Prost and Sebastian Vettel in their four championships? I feel like they're very similar, but you disagree.
Okay. My only problem is look at Seb's teammate and then look at Prost's teammate, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, he
obviously
did have.
Prost's teammate, Senna.
Yeah,
It's like
uh,
Seb had Mark Webber. I mean, he's good,
yeah,
but like,
yeah.
we can't
No,
compare Mark Webber to Ayrton Senna.
they're basically the same. Mark Webber and Ayrton Senna are up there for greatest of all time.
Here's the stats on those two. So Prost, so it's Prost first, Senna second. 4 championships to three, 51 wins to 41 wins, 33 poles to 65 poles, but 106 podiums to 80 podiums,
Okay,
200 starts to 160 starts.
so only 40 different starts, and Alan Prost is. I mean, his stats like are
Yeah.
significantly better.
10 more wins, 20 more podiums, and less pole positions, which means that he was able to climb more in the races, I'd say.
Yeah. So you think Alan Prost S tier is that what I'm
I
hearing?
think bottom of S tier. Like, very clearly, like, there even needs to be like a space between him and Max, but I think the bottom of S tier.
Why do you think that? Is it just the wins, or is there something else?
I mean, 4 championships, beating out Ayrton Senna 4 times basically. That's pretty good. Um, really, the only thing that Senna did better than him was pole positions and pole percentage. Um, let me do this.
Okay,
Prost.
I might agree with you because Max Verstappen versus Alan Prost.
Yeah,
You've
I'm just
got
looking at that.
you've got 4 championships each. Verstappen
Yep.
has 71 wins. Prost had 51. 131 podiums for Max, 106 for Alan Prost. But Max has 40 more starts. Now, he's got
Yeah.
20 more wins, but at the same time, Max's win rate is 29.1, Prost is 25.6. Max is a runner up in the championship twice, but Alan Prost runner up the championship 4 different times. He possibly could
Yeah.
have been an 8-time world champion.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I think it's like Max and like way down is Prost, but then down way down from that is Senna. So I think
Yeah.
he like sneaks into S tier maybe.
Okay. Let's take a look and see how we feel about that. How does that make us feel? Him in S. Does that look right or is it like
I think that looks better. I think that's better.
okay? I don't have a problem with it. You know what? I changed my mind. I do think S tier. Alan Prost maybe isn't as well remembered as Ayrton Senna, but the stats really do speak for themselves. He 4-time runner up the championship, yet he won 4. Realistically, he didn't, but he could have won more. And I don't hate it. I think it's a hot take for sure, but Alan Prost bottom of S tier, maybe not the worst thing in the world.
Let me do Senna versus Seb because I'm kind of curious about the stats on that.
Okay. I think that I think that Seb I think stats wise, Seb probably looks a lot better. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Yep. Seb 4-3, 53
Yeah.
wins to 41 wins. Senna beats him 65-57 in polls. Seb has 40 more podiums, but 140 more stars, which
Yeah,
is a
that's kind
lot.
of tough. That's a whole lot. How many starts total did
Um,
Senna have?
Senna had 161.
So it's almost double Senna's career.
Yes.
That's pretty wild.
But the percentages aren't that far off. Win
Yeah.
percentage, Senna 25 to Seb 17, and podium percentage 49 to 42.
Okay.
So I think they're in the correct spots. I was just gonna double check because I wasn't totally sure about the exact stats on that.
The only spot I would maybe change is I'm going to put Kimi Räikkönen above Damon Hill.
Yeah.
I think that that's pretty valid. But I don't think there's a single person on this list that I would move up or down a spot. Would you?
Um.
Maybe Nicky Lauda to C tier?
Yeah. I don't hate that.
Okay, let's do that. I think that makes a little more sense. Yeah, I like it. I don't think there's
Let's
anything
see.
else. I think there's some hot takes here, but I don't hate it at all.
Okay. Let me ask this though.
Okay.
Are we counting like Lauda's championships pre 1980?
How many did he win
Two.
total?
No, he won three total. Two before
Oh,
1980.
yeah. I think you have to. I think you have to. Yep. I say we just move him right back up there.
The only problem is though he only has two more wins than Kimmy and Damon Hill.
Mm.
So it's like he's on the
It's
border,
so
I'd say.
yeah. I think bottom of B tier is maybe the best fit.
Yeah,
All right. Is there
but it's pretty
anybody?
close.
It is pretty close. Is there anything else you would change on this list?
No,
I don't think
I
so
don't think
either.
so.
Yeah, I like it. Well, uh, this was a lot of fun. I think that there's some hot takes in there, but I think that this was a
Yeah,
pretty good, a pretty good list. We definitely have got a championship car tier list coming up. I think that's
Yeah.
next in the list. I think that'll be a little, maybe a little more differing opinions because it's so hard to know exactly where a car is at. But
Yeah.
yeah, this has been really fun. We got a lot of news coming up Monday. We'll have to get to that, but team principals getting fired and upgrades and
Yeah.
new card set coming out. So we'll be back Monday with that. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Our shorts are blowing up right now, which is pretty awesome. Our Instagram is also blowing up. We're over a third of the way to that 1,000 subscriber follower mark to go to the
Yep.
USGP. We'll if we get 1,000 followers, we'll be there. And then don't forget to listen on Apple Podcast. You know, if you can't watch on YouTube while you're at work or whatever, pop your earbuds in. Listen on Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. But this has been the Push Slap F1 podcast. This has been an absolute blast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you.